You all for being here today. Today's topic is one that's near and dear to my heart. It's girls' sports. It's near and dear to my heart because I've been a personal trainer since 2008, and while studying exercise and sports, it's very clear that testosterone is the hormone most predominantly found in men, and it produces the greater physical advantages for male athletes. Women have been known to take testosterone to boost their physical abilities in order to achieve greater athletic accomplishments. And when women take testosterone, it's called doping. And it's not legal in most competitive sports, and in fact, it's banned in the Olympics. The advantages of testosterone are so clear and obvious. It's in the numbers, it's in the times, and it's in the records held by male athletes. Olympic female athletes in their top form cannot and do not ever achieve the same physical feats that their male counterparts do. And that's why we have a division of male and female sports. We've heard of Title IX. Title IX is the civil rights law that was passed in 1972 that gave women athletes the right to equal opportunity in sports and more. When we allow biological males to compete in women's sports, we are discriminating against women. How is this discriminating against women? It's taking away opportunities for women and replacing it with more opportunities for males. Allowing biological males to play in women's sports creates lots of topics for discussion, both on and off the field. One off-the-field topic is locker rooms. We can make changes to accommodate locker rooms. That's an easy fix. What we can't change is the physical makeup of biological males and biological females. And that's where the real problem lies. This is why women's sports are for women. The identification of transgender individuals is new in our schools. This is a new topic to tackle. It's got new rules to create, new problems to solve. Generations before us did not identify students as male, female, and transgender. So should there be a safe place for transgender individuals in sports? Yes, but this is not that discussion. You can't just drop biological males into female sports and say problem solved, deal with it. That's not a solution. We need to create an environment that does not discriminate at the expense of others. This is a conversation about what's fair, and we need to remember the rights of women. And with that, I want to introduce one of my female colleagues who I know feels very similar to how I feel. She's an athlete in her own right, and that's Senator Pam Helming.
Thank you, Senator Wyke. So what we're talking about today is the need to preserve women's sports for women, to make sure that the necessary protections are in place so that our daughters and our granddaughters, they can compete and measure their athletic performance against the athletic performance of other women. Athletic experiences have helped generations of girls build confidence, learn teamwork, and develop leadership skills that serve them throughout their lives. For so many women, it opens doors to college opportunities that otherwise would not be possible. And I share this because I was one of those girls. As a member of my girls' high school track team, I had some success in running mid-distance races. I like to joke that the school record that I set back way in the 80s still stands today. But I need to explain that a little bit. The reason I say I joke about it is because when I ran the race, it was the 880-yard run. And a few years after I set the school record, it became the 800-meter run, thus enshrining my record forever, right? But,
good job.
No. But in all seriousness, it was my experience and success on that high school track team that opened the door to college and led me to where I am today. Look, I was a decent high school athlete and student, but no one in my family had ever gone to college. No one in my school talked to me about going to college. Again, it was because of the success I had on that field that I had someone ask me, what are you going to do after high school? Are you going to go to college? It put that thought into my head, and I feel very strongly today that our young women deserve that same opportunity that I had. Forcing schools to allow male athletes to join female sports teams undermines the progress that we've made for female student athletes. I feel very strongly that saying that this is inclusion is really going to lead to exclusion. Our daughters and our granddaughters will lose opportunities. And you know what? We're not the only ones who feel this way. The majority of New Yorkers are opposed to letting boys compete against girls. There was a Siena poll that was done in April of 2024, and at that time it showed 66% of New York voters support requiring high school athletes to compete in sports with those of the same biological sex. Those results are consistent with a February 2025 national poll by Pew that found that 66% support protecting girls' sports. And this past January 2025, a New York Times poll showed that 79% support protecting girls' sports. I agree with the majority of New Yorkers. We owe it to young women and girls to preserve the integrity of women's sports. And frankly, when I think about this issue, I wind up scratching my head as to why this is even an issue at all. Why would we even fathom doing this to our girls? When so many have fought so long and hard to secure equal rights, protections, and opportunities for girls and women in our state and across our nation. You know what? They count on us to be leaders and to do what's right. And I say to our girls, you can count on me to fight for you. I stand with the girls. At this time, At this time, it is my honor to present to you Senator Steve Rhodes.
Thank you so much, Senator Helming, and congratulations on your record.
Thank you.
This is about fundamental fairness. And what we're seeing play out today, both nationally as well as at a local and certainly at a state level here, is setting back generations of progress that we have made in the advancement of equal opportunity for women. Title IX is the law of the land, and Title IX is there to preserve equal opportunity for all. New York State's policy so far has been to allow biological males to participate in female sports. That is a direct violation of Title IX. Now, we have been blessed to have some partners in the fight, ensuring that the right to women's sports is preserved, one of which is standing to my left, and that is Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman, who has taken the lead in Nassau County, preserving the rights for only women to participate in female sports. Nassau County has been a bastion of common sense, and I want to thank you, County Executive Blakeman, for your leadership on this issue. But it is time for the state to speak, and it is time for the state to defend the rights of women and girls. What we're seeing instead coming out of the state education department is the instruction that goes out to all of the individual school districts that they are to allow biological males to participate, that they are required to allow an unfair competitive advantage to males being able to participate in girls' sports. The governor and the state education department does not get to pick and choose what laws they enforce. When the governor stands up and takes an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the state of New York, and to uphold the laws of the state of New York, she doesn't get to pick and choose what laws she chooses to uphold. And Title IX, as the law of the land, is something that she must uphold. Decisions like this should be made on a local level. This conference has taken very strong positions on a variety of topics, that it should be government closest to the people that make the decisions for what's right for people in that district. And this is no exception. When it comes to the issue of girls' sports, biological males in girls' sports, it should be the local school districts that have the opportunities to be able to decide what circumstances, if any, that's appropriate. And that's why I have Senate Bill 460, which actually passed the Education Committee in a bipartisan vote, but it's being held up now by being referred to the Codes Committee, which has absolutely nothing to do with anything having to do with Title IX. The Codes Committee deals only with issues regarding things that have a criminal sanction or a criminal impact. It is important that it move through this session so that female athletes have clarity about what challenges they are going to face as they enter the next scholastic year. And we see the examples. This is about safety. We've heard the stories of horrific injuries taking place as a result of biological males being able to participate in female sports. Female volleyball player who had significant facial injuries after being spiked by a male with a volleyball in a competitive girls' volleyball game. We just saw over the weekend two track and field competitions in California, you had a biological male win the high jump competition and the triple jump competition, a state championship, taking that opportunity away from female athletes because he was given a competitive advantage. This is about fundamental fairness. It's about opportunity for women to compete against their own and to be judged fairly in that competition. And it is time for the state of New York to stop pursuing a social justice agenda and start pursuing fairness for women in sports. And with that, I'm going to turn it over, it's my honor to turn it over to someone who's been a true champion for the rights of women, and that is my good colleague, Senator Patricia Canzaneri Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Senator Rhodes. And as you've heard today, this is not a position that we are taking to say that we don't support people to choose their own path. We want everybody to feel comfortable in their own skin and choose their own path. But we have an obligation to protect women. We have an obligation to protect women's rights to participate in sports without an unfair advantage. If anybody has met or spoken to or listened to Riley Gaines and heard her personal story, it is powerful and it will move you to support what we are talking about today. I want to share a personal experience. I was a high school athlete. I played softball. I do not hold a school record, but I will tell you that one of my daughters, and I have 3 of them, was an athlete who participated in soccer at multiple levels. And one time, she was knocked down to the ground and came off the field hurt and said to me, "Mom, that was no girl." And that was a really powerful moment for me to realize that even though my daughter was probably one of the most physical players out there, the dads all told me she plays like she's playing football because she was a very physical player and she wanted to win no matter what. But even in that moment, she was not able to compete with that other individual who I believe was a male. And we've heard about it. And Senator Alexis Wyke just listed all of the medical reasons why they have an unfair advantage. And those are things that we can't ignore. And we must make sure that we protect women. As a soccer fan, I've watched the national women's soccer team fight for equal pay. And how do we undermine all of what they have done to make sure women are treated equally and then allow men to play in their sport with an unfair advantage that nobody argues with? There's a physical advantage. So we don't want championships to be lost by women to people that are not a biological woman, and it's that simple. We have a responsibility to uphold Title IX and protect women's sports. I will tell you that I'm so proud to be from Nassau County because our county executive, who has joined us today, was out in front on this issue before anyone said anything, before our president was out there on it, long before anybody took a poll. He knew this was the right thing. And I'm proud to call him my friend, but I'm very proud to be his senator. And I'm proud to introduce Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Canzaneri Fitzpatrick. Senator Wyke, Senator Rhodes, and Speedy Helming, thank you very much. And also their colleagues who have joined with us, this outstanding group of public officials who recognize that this is a very important issue. So basically, I'll give you the genesis of how we started this movement in Nassau County. Basically, I was visited by a girls' soccer team, and some of the girls wanted to say to me, you know, this is completely unfair and it's unsafe if we have to compete against biological males. And they were very concerned, and their parents were concerned. So I thought about it, and I said, you know what? They're absolutely right. Because I know many, many females that are outstanding athletes, but biologically, biological males are stronger and they're faster, so they have a larger body mass typically. And it seemed to me that women were fighting for years and years and years for equality in sports, especially the effort that was made to get Title IX passed on the federal level. And I decided at that point I was going to do something immediately. So immediately I issued an executive order that said as follows: if you have a team that is competing on a county facility, in a county swimming pool, a county hockey field, a county tennis court, or track and field, anywhere on a county facility, you have to sign documentation that you will adhere to my executive order, which says basically, if it's a girls' team or a women's team and it's advertised as such, that biological males are banned from playing on those teams. Now, if it's a co-ed team, or let's say it was a transgender team, it would have no problem. We wouldn't worry about that at all. That's something that is a choice. It's advertised. It's not misleading. It's not false. It's not unfair. It's not unsafe. People know what they're getting into. But in the circumstance of female competition, girls are supposed to compete against girls, women are supposed to compete against women, and boys are supposed to compete against boys. It's that simple. So we signed the executive order, and of course, Attorney General Letitia James sent me a cease and desist order, she called it, and told me to stop my executive order, to which there was some litigation, lawyer letters going back and forth, and then, of course, the women on our county legislature said, hey, wait a second, we want to pass a county law codifying your executive order, to which I said, that is a great idea. And they passed that law, and basically that is the law in Nassau County. Now, I also spoke with Riley Gaines. We had a very good conversation. She was very enthusiastic, as well as many, many, many female athletes. And when I was called transphobic by Governor Hochul and Attorney General James, you know, I said, I wonder what Caitlyn Jenner thinks about this. So I gave her a call, and I said, you know, you are the most world-famous transgender person, and you were also, when you were competing as a biological male, probably the greatest male athlete of your time. What's your position? And Caitlyn Jenner said to me, she said, no, you're absolutely right. She said it would be completely unfair and unsafe if I competed against females. So I said, would you come to Nassau County and stand with us so people know that this isn't anti-transgender, this isn't about lifestyles, because in Nassau County, we're home to every race, religion, ethnic group, people of all lifestyles and abilities, and we get along really well. We're respectful of each other, even if we disagree. And that's one of the beautiful things about Nassau County. But she came, and she went to a press conference with me, and she said, Blakeman's not transphobic. He's protecting women. He's protecting girls. And that's all this is. Now, I have something to say to those biological males that are competing against women. You are bullies. Stop it. Stop it. These women worked hard their whole life. They trained. They got up 5 o'clock in the morning to train to get on these teams. They work hard after school. Their parents drove them back and forth to practice. Stop it. You're a bully. Thank you very much.
Those are great, encouraging words from a county executive who holds no punches, and I'm very proud that I also represent part of Nassau County, because to have an amazing county executive who speaks the truth, who speaks his mind, and not just speaks his mind, but speaks for all the rest of us, because he was out in front of this about a year ago, before this even caught on as a hot topic. And when I heard him speak, I was so encouraged to say, yes, finally, another politician, another elected official who governs over us, who understands that this is a different topic. This is not anti-trans. This is not anti-gay. This is realistic. This is for women, and this is common sense. And I thank you so much for those words and for your support. Now, thank you so much for being here. And